plane in New York, and I was flying to Phoenix, and I got a chance to go into first class. I had so many points, they gave me a little shot at first class. I always liked that, you know, it always made me feel pretty good. And the guy I was going to sit down with, we introduced ourselves as we were sitting down, and I said, my name is John Evans, I'm a professional speaker. He said, well, I'm Tim Mahoney. He said, I'm Director of Education for the Professional Golf Association. I said, really? What happened to Dr. Gary Warren? He said, well, I replaced Gary Warren. I said, no. You took his job. You're not going to replace Gary Warren. He's irreplaceable. And we laughed. He was a great guy. And we talked about Gary Warren because his theme was perfect practice makes perfect. Not practice makes perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. And I said, what are you teaching now on the PGA? I'd seen Gary Warren for 2 weeks in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where he was putting on a PGA school. And I said, what are you teaching now to the pros? What's the methodology that's going out? And he told me something that was really hard to believe. He said, there are 5 ways we're showing about playing or practicing, and we start with the worst. And the absolute worst way to practice is to have a game like on a Wednesday. And you're running a little bit late, but you're going out to the course anyway, and everybody's already out there. You throw your clubs on the cart, you run out, and you have to tee it up, and everybody hits. And you get a bad shot off the tee, and before you know it, you're hitting several errant shots, and before you know it, you're actually trying to get a grip, you know, that you can hit the club with, you know, really play right, and you stand over it a little bit longer, and then you're practicing. And you have no intention of playing anymore. All you want to do is start hitting the ball a little bit, and you're practicing instead of going with the game you got. The second worst way to practice is with your buddies out there, and you have a regular group, and you're meeting out there, and you ask for you want to drop another ball and take another shot. You probably don't do much of that, but a lot of people do. They want to get that, you know, they know they can hit it better than that last time. These guys are their buddies, and they're going to be patient. So they drop another ball, and before you know it, everybody's dropping extra balls, and you're not playing the game anymore. As a matter of fact, some of them are out looking for golf balls. And so you've been distracted. You're not playing the game. You're not going with what you had when you came out there, which is really the best thing to do. If you can't hit it, stay with what your basics are, and that's what you work from. The third worst way to practice golf is at a driving range, without a coach, without somebody showing you how to do it. And what you do out there, typically, you wind up trying to get the biggest club you can get your hand on and hit it as far as you possibly can. And you take and develop many bad habits and reinforce many bad habits, because nobody's there to say, you know, I just noticed you're moving your feet a little too wide, and help you make adjustments. If you're not being coached and you're practicing, you might be making things worse. He said the second worst way or best way to practice is just with a club. You can stand in any place. You don't have to be on a driving range or anywhere, but you get back into a groove. You work on a groove from what your memory is of the best swing that you have, and that the absolute best way to practice golf, and they're teaching this in the PGA now, is no club and no ball through visualization. Taking the parts that you've learned to do the most and the best and visualizing that. And I had a hard time with that. You know, that's tough for me to think that you improve like that. But the example they use is a guy that spent 7 years at the Hanoi Hilton. And what helped him keep his sanity and stay centered in his life was every day, in this solid confinement that he was in, he would imagine the golf course. He'd get a visualization of it, and he'd go through the strokes, every stroke, to play a perfect round of golf on this course. And for those 7 years, he played 18 holes in the morning, 18 in the afternoon. Probably helped him keep his sanity, I'm sure of that. But the very idea that he was practicing like that, once he got out and was released and went back home to the country club he'd grown up on, and his first round of golf was a scratch round of golf. So what he was doing was he was remembering those things, getting that right position, that perfect swing, and imagining it doing what it's supposed to do. Now, I don't know about you, but that's kind of challenging. But what I've done is I started getting up a little earlier in the morning. Matter of fact, I get up an hour earlier than I ever have, and I'm in pretty good shape. I exercise frequently, and I try to stay in good shape. But this hour of solitude has opened up my mind 100 times more than ever before. Because what I can do is, without any interruption, without the computer, without any conversation, really not any distractions at all, and I'm able to think through that day, and I get better organized than I ever have. And I'm doing more things than I've ever done. And I'm able to stay in control of more things that I have started to manage better in my life, because I'm able to take that time and invest that time to be focused.